Hello agents, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by myself, PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights is a podcast all about the 90 game Ingress. In this week's episode we're talking about what's going on with Cryptic Memories, with the Cell Battles and the Shard Knights, a bit of news about service that broke, and an unexpected agent earning an anomaly badge, as well as any other Ingress news that's broken in the meantime. So for now I'm going to start and talk about the third cell battle, which is currently ongoing and is the final cell battle of the Cryptic Memories Anomaly series. The Cryptic Memories final cell battle is starting as I'm recording this podcast on the 7th of March. So as you're hearing it will be a few days in, but it's only just starting as I'm talking. So that's in the various cells in the America, EMEA and the Asia Pacific regions I discussed last time. So best to check the Ingress news post, which I'll link to, and then you can see the cells that are listed on there, and you check if there's any cells that you can get to and help out your faction. Again, this is the same as all the previous cell battles we've had in this series, where you're trying to get the most MU for your faction. So you're trying to link, make lots of fields, and destroy the enemy's links and fields. So if you can band up with your faction, then go and contact them and do that. And then I'll move on and talk about the locations for the third and final Shard Knight, because we are getting close to wrapping up this anomaly season now. In episode 20 I went over an explainer about what Shard Knight is, so if you do need a refresher, please do go and listen to that episode. I won't be repeating anything on here, but the Cryptic Memories final Shard Knight for the 15th of March 2024 has its locations announced. So those are in Santos, Brazil, La Paz in Bolivia, Pittsburgh in the United States, Raleigh in the United States, Toronto in Canada, Fort Worth in Texas in the United States, Calgary in Canada, Salt Lake City in Utah in the United States, Zumpango in Mexico, Berkeley in the United States, Glendale in the United States, Pasadena in the United States, and Vancouver in Canada. So again, if you have a Shard Knight there, it's a chance to go and earn the Anomaly badge by interacting with and capturing shards, and there will be various points on how you can do that and what counts as interacting with a battle beacon at those Shard Knights. So I'll link to the Niantic news post, and it's got Intel map links and Google map links to where that will be occurring. So if you are in those cities, again similar to the cell battles, get together with your faction at the time of Shard Night and capture the shards, so make the link so they can travel along there. But as I say, if you need an explainer, just jump back to episode 21. I'll go through it and try and simplify it as best as I can. But now I'm going to move on and just talk about a funny little bit about someone earning a badge that was a bit unexpected. Niantic use an account called NIA Section 14, which is an enlightened account at the moment, to deploy battle beacons, generally for Shard Knights, and it also places them for the scanned meter. If you trigger a battle beacon by submitting 7 scans on a portal, that's who will place the battle beacon there through the automated system. So it's got a couple of badges. If I'll link to the profile and you can see what it's got on there. What I didn't expect is for the NIA Section 14 account to earn the Cryptic Memories Anomaly badge. So if you look at its profile, it's earned the Cryptic Memories Anomaly badge, presumably for the work that it's done with the changes to Shard Knights, because for that it notes that agents also earn the Anomaly medal by interacting locally with battle beacons deployed by NIA Section 14 on the shard spawn points approximately 18 minutes before the shard jump. And as NIA Section 14 has to take actions on there to make shards jump and do things with it, it counts as an interaction, would be my best guess. But it's a bit weird to see essentially a bot account, automated account, have the anomaly badge when I don't. It's a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter. I just thought it was a funny little thing to see on there. And as I said, I'll link to the profiles so you can see that for yourselves. I'm just going to talk about some outage and downtime that Ingress had as a result of something else happening that I'm sure you all experienced if you were on the internet at all on the 5th of March, but if not, then I'm going to cover that. On the 5th of March, the Meta service, which powers Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Threads, and all of those kind of things, went down. It was only for a few hours, but as it's a log-on method for Niantic games, if you were trying to log into Ingress and you only had Facebook linked, you couldn't log into Ingress at all. And whilst it was down, it couldn't make the connection there to actually log you on. And later, Google also suffered some issues. So even if you did have a backup method linked with Google as well to your Ingress account, there were issues accessing Ingress through all that time. It was only for about 2 hours in total, I think. So it wasn't devastating, but people started to wonder what was going on because the Ingress team didn't communicate that very well, or at all, I don't think. But it was something that caused a bit of stress for some agents when they couldn't log on, wondering if something had happened. But all seems to be fixed now. The only thing I would advise is make sure you have at least 2 linked services. So it's very rare for Facebook and Google to go down at the same time. So if you've got Facebook linked, maybe link Google as well, and vice versa. But as I say, that was all resolved pretty quickly. I just wanted to mention it there because it wasn't something we expect to happen, and there was no communication from Niantic to say that they were aware that it had then been fixed. So, as I said, just a brief little thing there, but I'm going to move on now to our next bit. This was rumoured previously, but we've now had confirmation via the points of contact for Enlightened and Resistance that the Q2 Anomaly series will be called Buried Memories, as mentioned in a previous podcast that was shared as rumored by the Resistance Global News Network Telegram, but we didn't have any public confirmation of it yet. But that has come through today on the 8th of March. And they're in Naha, Japan on the 18th of May, Chicago in the US on the 25th. That one was moved to be a week later. And then June the 15th in Kuching in Malaysia and Budapest in Hungary. So there's probably some additional events that will be happening, such as cell battles, shard nights, maybe a global op, but we at least have the name for the next round of Anomaly series / season. I don't know how we're determining that now, but Buried Memories is 100% the name of that, so maybe we'll get another Memories series for Q3 and Q4, and then find out what it all means going forward. And obviously we've got the final leg of Cryptic Memories next weekend, when we'll get everything wrapped up and get the points and find out what happens lore-wise and story-wise from that. But yes, as I said, Buried Memories, definitely. So look forward to those. I'll move on to our next part now. So something a bit different for the features this time around. So as I'm recording this, it's International Women's Day 2024. Obviously myself, I don't identify as a woman, although some people in the Ingress community thought I was female, which was surprising to find out. But as I said, it's International Women's Day 2024, and the theme for this year is to inspire inclusion. So they've noted that when we inspire others to understand and value women's inclusion, we forge a better world. So unfortunately, it's only me on this podcast, so I don't have any female guests lined up. We've had a few on, but it's not aligned this time round. But there have been forum threads from the Ingress team for International Women's Day 2020 and 2021, which I'm going to link to on there. Obviously, there were layoffs at Niantic recently-ish, and some of the people that are named in these threads no longer work at Niantic, but we do still have some steadfast Niantics there, still like Hilda, Pooja. I believe the head of Pikmin is also female, whose name escapes me at the minute. I want to say Lara or Lana, one of those. And obviously we have our Ingress community specialist, Niantic Tia, or Thea. The transcript will screw that up somehow. But I'll link to those threads, because what the Ingress team used to do for International Women's Day is send out emails to say about women in Ingress, and we get occasional updates as well. Those have since stopped, unfortunately, but we don't get them through anymore. I'm not going to go through and read everything about every single person that's named in these threads, but I will provide links there to them so you can read for International Women's Day. I don't think we'll get one this time around, because the Ingress team seem to have dropped off using the forums quite as much, but maybe they'll get something on there. I'm honestly surprised there's not been a resale badge of a female character to cash in a bit. But as I said, do celebrate International Women's Day, however you feel is best. And I've realised, obviously, when it is International Women's Day, there's always people that look up when International Men's Day is. That was back in November. I was still getting the podcast started up then, so I didn't mention or do anything for that. If you want me to in future, then let me know. I'm happy to do that. And we'll move on now and get things all wrapped up. Do check out the links that I'll share. Actually, before I move on, I'm going to go through a tweet that the Niantic Twitter account sent out, possibly linked to International Women's Day, but I don't know if they're that clever to think ahead on there. So you can send in player stories to the Niantic email, and they shared a player story from a player named Sarah, saying explore the Scottish Highlands, noting that despite chronic pain and mobility challenges, Sarah has reached her goal of exploring the Scottish Highlands. Shout out to all our explorers paving their own path, and that at Ingress. Are you looking forward to accomplishing any walking goals this year? So they shared a photo of the Scottish Highlands, looks very nice. And then noted that Sarah's goal was to visit the Coronation Stone at Dunad Fort and play Ingress there. And then we have a quote from Sarah in a pretty pixelated photo. But it says, if any other agent is lucky enough to be in the area, then they too can become a I'm going to get this wrong. Dalridian King and capture the Stones portal. And most of the replies to it have been pretty good and showing off details there. So I just wanted to share that little player story that's come up, and if I can find the email to send in player stories, I'll certainly note that in the show notes, so you can send in any player stories on there that you have of how you've explored and where Ingress has taken you, and then you can obviously send those in. You might get a social media post put up about that. Now I will actually move on to get things wrapped up. Thanks, agents, for listening to the 22nd episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media channels, the best way to do that is generally by Threads or Instagram under the name ingress.insights. And you can leave us a review on your podcast service of choice and answer the Q&A and the polls, things like that. Always helps out. And next time when I record, the anomaly for Cryptic Memories will have been completed, and we'll have all the full scores on that and possibly what's happened with the lore on there. If there's anything that drops before Sunday, I won't be able to fit it in because I've got quite a busy weekend, so I'm recording this a few days before. But for the anomaly next weekend, I'll record as close to that as I can to get the results in and go over any other Ingress news that's come out. We may have the Q2 events now that we've got the anomaly name, and we may have another global op. we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But thank you again for listening, agents. Have a happy hacking Mother's Day Sunday if you're in the UK. If not, everyone else just have a nice happy Sunday. See you next time.